Hi, welcome to Fishing the Edge. Michael Guest here. Today we're heading out wide into the deep water. We're going to try and jig some kings on some spin tackle using jigs up to around about 400 grams. But first, let's have a bit of a look at some rigging techniques. First things first, let's get a bit of gear organised. So I've done a bimini twist here in my 80-pound braid with a double, and I've got a loop-to-loop connection onto my wind-on leader, which can wind up through the guides and down onto the reel. 100-pound fluorocarbon. And I've crimped that with a little Flemish eye back onto a solid ring. The hook's connected to that solid ring. So when we're fighting the fish, we're fighting that hook into the fish's jaw. It's crimped through there onto that solid ring. The jig is really just hanging on simply by that split ring. So if I want to change jigs, pretty easy. Grab a pair of pliers, undo that split ring, put a different weight jig, a different style of jig for a little bit different action. So that's the really easiest way to do it. When you're traveling, you take that jig off and you can put your hook onto your rod, wind it up without jigs flying around. Simple as that. Let's get out there and try it. Okay, I've reached the bottom. There's a couple of different techniques you can use for jigging. So this technique is what we call a mechanical style technique, where you lift really, really quickly and then wind the slack up. Oh, and then you get a bite like that. Okay, that's mechanical jigging. I'll be back shortly. To get the fish under control, all you need to do is just settle down, relax, and take it easy on the fight. And here he comes. It's a nice deep water kingy. There he is. Didn't fight as hard as I thought, this bloke. He's not a huge fish. Certainly nothing wrong with that. And he's just come up from 50 odd fathoms, and you can see the fight in that fish. So release that fish, it's going to go rocketing back to the bottom. Probably a fish of about 5 kilos, 4.5, 5 kilos. And that's a good start for the first drop. Once he's under control, take a wrap if you've got your jigging gloves on. So wrap there, grab hold of the jig, hook safe, and then one quick lift out. And there he is, and then straight under, tuck him under the arm like that. Hey, come on. He'll calm down in a sec, there he goes. And of course that hook's perfectly positioned in the corner of the mouth there. And you can see there's that split ring onto our ring. It's all working really well, and that big deep jig's shot down there. I've given it that action. It's shot back up again. Crack, we've got the bite, and there's the result. Great start. Kingies haven't got teeth, so you quite reasonably can put your hand in there. We'll get him in the sun so you can see. Beautiful, healthy kingfish. I'm sure there's some bigger ones down there, so drive back up, use your electronics. We've got about 1.6 knots or nautical miles per hour drift downhill. We're in about 60 fathoms of water. So now use your sounder, use your GPS, go back up, have a look at your drift line. That was a successful drift, so let's do the same drift again and see if we can't catch a bigger one. That's our kingfish disappearing off the screen. So electronics are just super important for deep water jigging. Without them, you're really going to struggle. So we've marked where our kings are, got them on the sounder. I've zoomed the 200 kilohertz in. On this Lowrance LCX 112, it's got a few options there, so I can actually go through the menu and go to deep water. So plug in deep water. I can lift the sensitivity up. I can zoom in on that bottom picture, which really shows me what a kingfish, what a probably pearl perch and other bottom fish, and focus on them. We come across to the GPS, and I'll just head back up. We've drifted away from where we've been catching our fish. Here's our marks here, and you can see these straight lines running down this way. That's our drift. I had a drift down this way, no good. That last drift, bang, I've caught a kingfish. So then straight back up, start on our same drift again, and we can continue to do that. If we don't do any good there, then we can move across. It's not a very big patch of reef, so it's important to know where you're drifting. If the current changes or the wind changes, you'll see your drift angle change on your GPS with those pink lines, and simply move across and you can follow the lines. Pretty simple stuff. Let's see how to picture now. Oh yeah! Tried a couple of different techniques. slower jigging technique, a high-speed retrieve, but it's that real aggressive, mechanical, aggressive jigging technique that's getting the bite so far. The jigging tackle I'm using today, it's a Fluger Supreme heavyweight jig rod, coupled with a Fluger torsion size 80 reel, some 80-pound code red braid, then down to our 130-pound fluorocarbon leader and crimp as we've shown you back on shore there. A bit breathless at the moment, this is hard work. So but all working really, really well, and I've got a bit of colour there now, and I'd say it's not a bad sized king, this one. All right, that's a better quality fish. Yes, there we go. Yeah, that's more like it. Get rid of that jig out of there. Oh, he's well hooked, this fella. There we go. That's a better kingfish. Great fish. Awesome fun in this deep water, that's for sure. Yeah. Oh, you've been watching Fishing the Edge. We've been jigging kingfish. As I always say, there's always time for one last drop. I've already snuck that in. I'm hooked up, I'll catch you next time. Jigging's certainly hard work, but it's great fun, and with results like that, why not?